Welcome to the 4th Annual AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence Awards broadcast. Joining us to introduce this year's celebration of the best buildings and spaces and the members and partners behind them is your 2020 AIA Pennsylvania President, Mark Mondor.
Welcome, everyone. I'm honored to be joining you to recognize the great work that Pennsylvania's architectural community is doing to create a better world through visionary solutions that affect positive and equitable social, environmental, and economic outcomes. As architects, our work is responsible for creating a blueprint for a better future, arguably now more than ever. This year has been tough on our industry, an essential industry made up of dedicated design and construction professionals that work in concert to bring the structures of where we live, learn, work, heal, worship, and play to life. Taking a step back to celebrate our shared accomplishments reminds us of the vitality and resilience of our industry. Design and construction professionals persevere and adapt to serve clients and communities during times of crisis. I'm inspired by the resolve of our profession to take on some of the most pressing issues of our times amidst the daily challenges of practicing architecture during a pandemic. It's a true testament to the architect's ingrained duty and deep commitment to humanity. While I had other plans for my term as 2020 president, I'm proud of the way AIA Pennsylvania staff and volunteers pivoted to serve the needs of the profession and the membership. From creating our new strategic plan, which has established priorities to meet the rapidly changing landscapes of 2020 and beyond, and it's free and available for download, to the creation of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, and to the important work of the Government Affairs Committee and the Committee on the Environment, to the nearly impossible feat of advocating for our livelihoods during a government-mandated shutdown, to providing relevant programming and up-to-date communications, to positioning architects as key leaders in the recovery and rebuilding of our economy and public health. We've been keeping busy for you. But enough about us, and let's get back to the awards. It's hard to believe that this broadcast format is in its 4th year already. Who would have predicted that the pandemic would have mandated this new reality for the world? This foresight is a credit to the AIA Pennsylvania board and the leadership of the Committee on Design Chair, Bob Kelly. Back in 2017, the staff made the risky move to transition from a gala celebration to a broadcast debut, with local and satellite viewing parties to provide greater access to celebrate the work of our members across the state. And after all, one of our goals was to try to bring our leadership and our profession to every corner of the state, rather than just a few select spots. So it's our hope that despite foregoing the local viewing parties this year, there's a spirit of fellowship that translates to your screens and inspires your practice. Whether you're the winner or not, please revel in the triumph of every project and of our work's capacity to improve the lives of the occupants that dwell in our buildings and spaces for generations to come. So let's get on with the show, but not before thanking our sponsors and preferred partners for their generous support. Because, although architecture persists, without their support, this show could not go on. Thank you.
This celebration of architectural excellence throughout the Commonwealth is made possible by our generous sponsors and partners. Thank you to our preferred partners. Fenner & Essler, provider of insurance and risk management for architects and engineers. Microsoft Resources, an Autodesk Platinum partner with offices in Philadelphia, supporting architecture, engineering, and construction firms to ensure they get the most out of their software investments. Milber Macris, providing a wide range of legal services tailored to design professionals with offices in Berwyn, Pennsylvania. Offit Kerman, construction law experts specializing in solving professional practice and business challenges for architects and engineers. Office locations in Harrisburg, Philadelphia, and Plymouth Meeting. Bell Insurance, a full-service insurance agency specializing in serving businesses as well as individuals. Thank you to this evening's sponsors, Atlantic Engineering Services, Langen, Members First Federal Credit Union, Turner Construction. Sheets. Acoustic Distinctions. The Harmon Group. Oldcastle APG. Foodtech Engineering. Lamb Partners. Tonight's celebration includes recognition of significant achievements by members, citizen architects, non-members, civic and government leaders, allied professionals, and member firms who contribute to the built environment and the advancement of the profession in the Commonwealth. The AIA Pennsylvania membership at large, nearly 3,000 members strong, is given the opportunity to nominate individuals or firms for these honors. This year's Ad Hoc Special Awards Nomination Committee deliberated on the 9 Architectural Excellence Special Awards to put forth a final slate of Architectural Excellence Special Award recipients to the AIA Pennsylvania Board for approval. Special Awards Nomination Committee members with conflicts recused themselves from deliberation if a conflict was present in a category. The votes of Special Awards Nomination Committee members and board members with conflicts were not counted for or against the majority approval votes needed to accept the recipients. Special thanks to this year's Special Awards Nomination Committee chaired by Jeff Goldstein, FAIA. Jeff and Committee on Design Chair Bob Kelly convened committee members Bill Bates, Ann Chen, Chris Dawson, Maggie McManus, Elisha Mickelson, Mark Mondor, and Jane Spector. 2020's prestigious AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence Special Awards are brought to you by Langen Engineering. Langen provides an integrated mix of engineering and environmental consulting services in support of land development projects, corporate real estate portfolios, and the energy industry. This year's Emerging Professional Award and Associate Award nominees were put forward to the AIA Pennsylvania Board of Directors for approval by the AIA Pennsylvania Emerging Professionals Committee, or EPIC, led by Chair Elisha Mickelson, AIA. The committee was responsible for putting forth their prospective nominations for each award, as well as vetting the nominees submitted by the membership at large to come to a final nomination to present to the board. 2020's prestigious AIA Pennsylvania Emerging Professional Award, Associate Award, and EPIC firms are brought to you by Turner Construction, fostering a culture of full engagement, continuous improvement, active caring, adaptability, and vision. Their innovation group helps coordinate and support efforts to generate and develop ideas that can help transform the company and the industry. The first special award of the evening celebrates the present and future of the profession. The Emerging Professional Award seeks to recognize the exceptional achievements and future promise of a licensed architect and to promote their continuing development. Recipients demonstrate design excellence, leadership in practice, leadership in education, and service to the profession and society. The 2020 Emerging Professional Award goes to Monica Blasco, AIA. As the Pennsylvania Young Architect Regional Director, Monica Blasco has been hard at work with her fellow young architects, molding the future of our profession, building upon its strengths, while continually identifying and creatively attacking its shortcomings. She is honored to accept the 2020 Emerging Professional Award as AIA PA strengthens its commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives that Monica has been championing. Through her involvement with AIA Pennsylvania, the National AIA Young Architects Forum, AIA Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Young Architects Forum, Women in Design Pittsburgh, and range of work experience, Monica has proven herself to be an adept designer, a collaborative leader, and an accomplished advocate. Currently a project architect at QK Architecture, she leads a range of project types and scales in a fast-paced, small firm setting. She strives to channel her experiences as a young female architect by mentoring aspiring architects and championing issues that affect the entire architectural community, but especially those historically disenfranchised. Congratulations, Monica! The Associate Award recognizes an AIA Pennsylvania Associate member who has demonstrated outstanding leadership, creativity, and significant contributions to their communities, the architecture profession, and the AIA. Nikki Chung, Associate AIA, recently graduated from Carnegie Mellon University with a Bachelor of Architecture and minors in Intelligent Environments and Architectural History. He is part of the team at the Pittsburgh-based firm Rothschild Duino Collaborative. Nikki's curiosity and everything around him culminated in a year-long thesis project studying non-traditional methods to engage in collaborative and inclusive architectural design processes. Nikki shares, quote, "When I was applying to colleges, I wrote about two ants that I saw on the ground. One appeared dead, and the other marched around the unmoving ant. After an attempt by the marching ant to lift its fellow ant, the immobile ant regained energy and they left together. Reflecting back, I realized that these ants taught me a lesson of empathy and support for fellow creatures, and it is this lesson that fuels my passion for architecture. Architecture has always served as a means to work toward a more fair and equitable world. I never imagined the community that I have found in the process of doing so, however. The built environment involves collaboration with such a diverse group of actors that can have conflicting interests. To date, my peers and mentors inspire me to challenge the typical ways that architects have been involved in the production of space." End quote. AIA Pennsylvania presents the 2020 Associate Awards to Nikki Chung, Associate AIA. Congratulations! The following 26 firms are recognized for their commitment to the development of emerging professionals with the 2020 EPIC Firm recognition. The American Institute of Architects defines emerging professionals as architecture graduates pursuing licensure and architects licensed within the last 10 years. To be eligible for this designation, an emerging professional and a firm principal from each firm took the time to complete an assessment that provided checkpoints for 3 critical areas of an emerging professional's development: the Architectural Experience Program, AXP, leadership, and support. Congratulations to 2020's EPIC firms fostering the future of the profession throughout the Commonwealth: Atkin Olshan Shade Architects, Ballinger, Bergman, BLT Architects, Reslin Ridyard Federo Architects, Crabtree Rohrbach and Associates, Design Group, Digsaw, Evolve EA, Fancy Parsley, Hayes Design Group Architects, HDR, HOK, Hunt Engineers Architects Land Surveyors, Ian Smith Design Group, IKM Incorporated, KCBA Architects, LGA Partners LP, LRK, MKSD Architects, Moshier Studio, Murphy & Dittenhafer, PJA Architecture, QK Architecture, RLPS Architects, WRT LLC. The AIA Pennsylvania Student Awards recognize students from all 7 NAAB accredited schools in Pennsylvania. The Student Awards recognize the exceptional scholastic achievement and future promise of a graduating student. These students were selected by their faculty and have proven to be proficient in both academics and design and ready to take on the challenges and responsibilities of the work environment in an architecture firm. It's time to reveal the 2020 Student Awards. 2020's prestigious AIA Pennsylvania Student Awards are brought to you by Members First Federal Credit Union, a full-service financial institution serving nearly 500,000 members through its network of almost 60 branch locations throughout central Pennsylvania, as well as its robust digital banking and call center channels. From Carnegie Mellon University, Christoph Eckrich, Bachelor of Architecture. Drexel University student Bridget Burns, Bachelor of Architecture. Marywood University, Rebecca Dolgus, Bachelor of Architecture student. From Penn State University, Monique Doro, Master of Architecture. Thomas Jefferson University, Cynthia Boblitz, Bachelor of Architecture. Temple University, Abigail Freed, Master of Architecture student. From the University of Pennsylvania, Robert Schaefer, Master of Architecture student. Congratulations to the 2020 AIA Pennsylvania Student Award recipients. The 50-Year Timeless Award recognizes a building that has endured the test of time and still resonates with the design community and the public. This year's honoree is the George Nakashima Studio and Grounds. AIA Pennsylvania extends a special thanks to Committee on Design Chair Bob Kelly and 2020 Special Awards Nomination Committee Chair Jeff Goldstein for their creative vision and direction on this year's 50-Year Timeless documentary short.
Although Dad left architecture in 1941, and the year 2020, he's finally being recognized for his architecture as well. It's a wonderful thing. The Japanese have an interrupted perspective intentionally, because you sort of explore your way along through the space rather than seeing it all at once. And that's incorporated into the design of the buildings here. I think the Japanese way of thinking about spaces, about the emptiness having a value as strong as fullness, along with the Bauhaus, was very, very instrumental in the formation of modern architecture in the 20th century. It's just that whole Zen idea of emptiness and the architectural forms that are manifested through Japanese architecture in relating to the out of doors and bringing it in small pieces as part of the interior space. So to have that vision that that he wanted this property, and he only had 3 acres in the beginning. He convinced the farmer who owned it to sell it to him in exchange for labor on the farm for $300 or something like that. So it was the good old days. He never talked much about it. He was very much a Zen master. Of course, I was a little kid too when he started. I was like 5 years old, so I guess most people don't tell little kids what they're thinking when they're only 5 years old. He just built out of necessity in the beginning. We needed a shop, so he built this concrete block building, which was very simple, very quick, with a corrugated transite roof. And that's so he could work. And that was his office, and that was his workshop. There was a finishing room and everything all together in just one this little space. And then he built a house, so he had a place to live. He definitely lay out the foundations for every single building, because he had a definite idea of the size and the way it lay on the property and the way it faced south and so forth. Just for myself, I can't figure out things unless I figure them out on paper first. But he had them all figured out in his head, and it worked. It all came together. Was fascinated with the warped shell, thin shell construction in the 1950s. And he insisted on experimenting with them. And some people have asked, well, how come he didn't do that with his furniture? That was kind of because he respected the material itself and designed his furniture around the material itself rather than forming it into something that man wanted to make as a form. You know, he wanted to let the forms from nature speak for themselves. So yeah, there is that duality. I would sit on the north side of the desk, which I really like. When it's clear of stuff, it's a lovely desk. Unfortunately, it's mostly cluttered when I work there. But when you're sitting at the north side of the desk, you can look out the south side of the building, and I especially enjoy it when everybody's gone home and it's not so noisy anymore, and I don't have to keep running out and looking at stuff or asking questions, and the phone doesn't ring, and the office people don't buzz me and tell me to do this or that. And I can look out across the landscape, and it's sometimes I get busy and I'm looking at my desk and my computer, and I look up, and the sun has set, and there's this beautiful color outside, and you can see it all through those huge windows. One of the almost worrisome things about being the steward of this property is the preservation and the ongoing lifetime of these buildings. I would like very much for it to continue to be appreciated by the public, and but somehow restricting the number of people who come through so that it doesn't get overworn. But I would like to preserve it as well as possible for future generations. So when I go through the lumber storage over there, I see potentially all kinds of things. It's really my source of inspiration, and it's kind of a connection to my father, because a lot of that wood is still wood that he purchased and milled when he was alive, and so it's a connection to the past. It's also a connection to the future. In Japan, some of the architecture is centuries and centuries old, because it's well built and because it's made of good materials, and when the materials fail, they can replace it. And Dad did say, though, that he thought if you had a good design, and this is mostly in reference to his furniture, he said, you don't have to change it. It's a good design forever. So there's this combination of ephemerality and eternity.
The Impact Designer Award recognizes a wide range of design disciplines held together by a common goal to design and create a better world through innovative, scalable, and measurable solutions. Impact design is rooted in the core belief that design can be used to create positive social, environmental, and economic change, and focuses on actively measuring impact to inform and direct the design process. Purpose before profit, a guiding principle for Chris Dawson AIA and his eponymous firm. Chris Dawson Architect works to make architecture easy to understand and bring to life by taking an inherently collaborative approach with the shared goal of unlocking all the potential contained within a project. The firm actively pursues projects that will benefit those most in need and believe that architecture is for everyone. When notified of his honor, Chris offered, quote, "I am humbled by AIA Pennsylvania's recognition as an impact designer, but am grateful that my firm's work is appreciated. It is a team effort with many people contributing to executing the work. I have had the privilege to work with many talented designers and architects over the last 11 years, with our current roster including Jan Barros, Sarah Sweeney, Kim Riley, Allison Crickman, Clara Barasova, Vladimir Sturm, Jim White, and Molly Mank. Join us in congratulating 2020's Impact Designer recipient, Chris Dawson, AIA. Since 1923, Fenner & Essler Insurance Agency has been an innovative provider of insurance and risk management for architects and engineers. Known for their expertise in this specialized field, Fenner & Essler currently represents the interests of more than 1,200 firms of all sizes throughout the United States. Fenner & Essler is the commended insurance provider to the AIA of Pennsylvania and an active member of numerous AIA state and local chapters. If your firm has had claims, Fenner & Essler can offer an effective strategy to manage these claims that can help reduce further risk and help better manage both your future insurance costs and coverage. Visit Fenner & Essler online or connect with them on LinkedIn. Earlier this fall, one of the most recognized and influential architects in the country, Tom Kundig, principal of Olson Kundig, and 2020 AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence Design Awards head juror, convened a meeting of 3 local Seattle jurors. Tom's office, a laboratory for design experimentation in the historic Pioneer Square neighborhood of downtown Seattle, made the ideal backdrop for a full day of reviewing the 140 projects submitted to this year's Design Awards program. 2020's honorees exhibited distinguished design in the categories of architecture, preservation architecture, interior architecture, regional and urban design, unbuilt, impact design, and single-family residential design. Meet this year's Architectural Excellence Design Award jurors.
For an architect to be awarded by somebody in your profession is a huge honor, because it's an informed honor.
I think only architects know how to discriminate between the capable, the good, and the great. And so we all aspire to do great work if the circumstances allow it. And participating in juries and submitting for juries is oftentimes a humbling act, but I think you do it to test yourself.
What makes great architecture? Probably time tells you better than anything else what makes great architecture. You can look at it and say, look at that. But there's also some immediate sides to great architecture, which, just as there's some immediate sides to great any artistic presentation, in which you say, whoa, how wonderful, for any number of reasons.
Architecture right now and always has been about the human condition, because it is ultimately food, water, shelter. It's an armature to experience this larger sort of natural landscape. For me, it's not a now thing, it's an always thing.
The jury recognized projects deemed worthy of award with the following levels of distinction. Silver medal. A silver medal may be granted at the jury's discretion to the project that distinguishes itself from the rest of the submissions, representing the highest level of achievement. Honor award. An honor award may be granted at the jury's discretion to projects that exemplify distinguished achievement in any category. Merit award. A merit award may be granted at the jury's discretion to any project that either lies outside of the other categories or bears an exceptional aspect that the jury feels represents excellence, which deserves recognition. The jury selected 12 projects for merit award recognition. In the category of preservation architecture, MGA Partners is the recipient of a merit award for A Catalyst for Renewal, Chandler Ullman Hall, Lehigh University.
We don't have chimneys out here. We couldn't resist them.
You know, one of the real strengths of your chapter, of your area, is in fact this historic fabric that you're dealing with. We have less of that kind of component of our industry on the West Coast, so it's clear that the local architects, or the architects I should say, in working in Pennsylvania have a very skilled way of looking at and repurposing some of these older buildings, historic buildings, into modern technology and modern lifestyle agendas.
One of the charms of this project is that the existing building, the container, has been kept and modestly renovated, but it's not precious. It's very straightforward, and we assume that that was the nature of the spaces beforehand. But the insertion of the new does not dominate the existing. It seems to be cohabitate very nicely. And once again, to reinforce what Tom was saying, we on the West Coast just don't have the experience of working with as many of these wonderful old buildings. So we were equally charmed by the container.
Congratulations, MGA partners. In the architecture category, Stantec receives a Merit Award for the Charles Library, a joint venture with Snøhetta.
This actually led to a lot of interesting discussion about the position of a culturally important building in a particular urban context and how you embrace it. It was clear that the agenda here was in the narrative and obviously in the images is to make a sculptural piece that could be seen from all four sides and experienced from all four sides. And we think it was done very successfully. At the same time, answering a lot of the sort of complicated programmatic issues that are part of a contemporary library.
Tom said it well. The unique aspect of this is an urban building that's seen on four sides, and by definition it's a piece of sculpture. So as an architectural jury, you're automatically put on notice that this is a different kind of an animal, an urban building that's seen from all four sides. And so it took a lot of discussion on our part to come to terms with the sculptural quality. Is this appropriate for this site? And I think at a certain point we came to the conclusion that it was, and that as dynamic as it appears to be, it certainly would be experienced that way, and certainly for the sense of entry into a hallowed space like a library, it seemed to be very appropriate.
In a funny way, we really want this building to work. This is a building you will be pleased if it takes on a life of its own and breathes and gets great affection from the people that use it, because that's what it needs. We're looking at it, at its very beginning, but if this building works, it will be wonderful.
Congratulations, Stantec and Snøhetta, on your honor. In the architecture category, Kieran Timberlake receives a Merit Award for East End Transformation.
This project is really significant to me, although we don't do, in my firm, much campus planning or campus architecture. I'm well aware of the challenge of designing contemporary insertions into traditional campuses, especially those with Beaux-Arts symmetry. And I really respect that this insertion of these two modern pavilions accomplished exactly what they wanted to achieve, which was a placemaking on the orthogonal or Beaux-Arts geometry, but investing it with a contemporary energy. And for me, the transparency of this one photograph looking towards the traditional hall at the end is very representative of the skill of being both there and not there, being contemporary, but also part of the tradition of the campus. So I think it was an extremely skillful insertion.
I think its success is to what Ed was referring to as that yin and yang of the historic, relatively weighty architecture of the existing campus with this almost ephemeral sort of visitor that came into the site that maybe was ephemeral in some ways, but also defined that campus even further as with the campus edges that we all expect in this Beaux-Arts position, using modern language. Really a terrific project, skillfully done all levels.
Congratulations, Kieran Timberlake. In the Preservation Architecture category, Brower and Hauptmann Architects receives a Merit Award for the Esperanza Health Center.
Well, I think we were all charmed and absolutely convinced of the repurposing of a building like this for a community health center. So you go into it loving the program and saying this is just absolutely the right thing to preserve a building of this significance and invest it with this new program. I think we were less convinced about some of the contemporary architectural elements in relation to the container, but we really celebrated the fact that it was an adaptive reuse of a community mental health or a community health facility into a historic commercial building.
And that historic building is, I believe, in a relatively gritty neighborhood, and it will become, I think, with this kind of investment, will become a beacon for the community. Because in fact, what's interesting is in a lot of these neighborhoods that maybe have a tough time right now, some of the existing fabric or some of these buildings are actually quite fantastic. And this is a good example of that kind of building that when it's rediscovered and repurposed, the community can recognize that there's built fabric that should be re-engaged and repurposed.
It just is a really interesting juxtaposition of a very significant commercial structure repurposed for the community.
Congratulations, Brower and Hauptmann Architects. For more than 30 years, the partners at Milber, Macris, Plaucidus, and Sidon have guided the architects and engineers of Pennsylvania, providing a wide range of services such as defending them in construction, commercial, and personal injury litigation, assisting them in contract preparation and review, providing risk management advice, and advising licensure compliance. Welcome Rich Davies, Honorary AIA.
Good evening. I'm Rich Davies, Legal Counsel at AIA Philadelphia, Chairman of Philadelphia Center for Architecture and Design, and Managing Partner of the Pennsylvania office of Milber, Macris, Plaucidus, and Sidon, MMPS for short. It is my pleasure and that of my partners Victoria Green and Kevin Domowski to support these awards celebrating excellence in design, contributions to the profession of architecture, and commitment to the quality of the built environment. This year's award winners have produced work we think evidences the positive impact of thoughtful architecture upon how we live. We admire you all as you seem to live Ben Franklin's observation that well done is better than well said. Coming from lawyers, that means something. Congratulations to you all and enjoy the program.
In the Regional and Urban Design category, Evolve EA receives a Merit Award for the Etna Eco District Plan.
We want thousands of these. Yeah. Really, we want thousands of these. This was just hard work done well. Hard project, hard detail, crucially important job.
Yeah, I think Peter touched on it. This is crucially important work. We're just hoping we see more and more of this, where we go into our neighborhoods and our, certain parts of our city, maybe grittier parts of our city, and we study them, we reinvent them, and we bring back the population that some of these areas might have lost.
I think we all agreed also that the concept sketches and perspectives were really useful to be able to illustrate these strategies so that lay persons could understand them.
Congratulations, Evolve EA. In the category of architecture, Ewing Cole receives a Merit Award for the Mass 2 Community Charter School.
This is a project that is easy to get our minds around. A very creative program for a creative curriculum, very modest means in terms of the tectonics of the building, and what I thought was a very skillful site plan that would allow it to grow incrementally with the same energy as the first two phases. It's a classroom building that stimulates the imagination. The modesty of the industrial materials and the bright colors seems entirely appropriate to my sense of its curriculum.
Yeah, you cheer for a school. You want a school to work. You want this project to be a school that these kids are proud of and love and work brilliantly with.
And I think it's a school, one reason this school will work is the relatively narrowness of the floor plan that really embraces daylighting from all four directions, and the courtyards between the buildings, so that students are not only aware of the natural landscape or the campus landscape, but also each other. So you can see across these inner courtyards, across these ball fields, and really engage in a much sort of a larger spectrum the life of a student growing up in this building. I'd love to visit this building and really experience it. I think it's a terrific project.
And for all of those reasons, in terms of the admission of light, the strong forms, it's exceptional to every other building that these students have probably ever been in. And I think it is an incredible attractor for education.
Congratulations, Ewing Cole. In the Regional and Urban Design category, Evolve EA receives a Merit Award for RainCheck 2.0.
Well, again, we wish, the jury wished there were just thousands of these to sort of almost take this 30,000 foot perspective of where we're living and what's happened in the last 50 to 100 years and test it and model it, think about it, and think about what we can do with these existing built fabrics and repurpose them into next level sustainability and livability wellness strategies.
This detailing brings all these parts of a neighborhood to people, and it's just crucial. And it's not something we've been very good at. I got a notice the other day that there's a book that's coming out about urban details, about 99% invisible urban details that are coming. And I believe that that's what will unfold next, this task of seeing what's in your neighborhood and what does it add up to.
Congratulations, Evolve EA. In the category of single-family residential, Richard Pedranti Architect receives a Merit Award for the Scott residence.
Well, we had a lot of discussion about houses, and I would start by commenting that we were surprised that there were relatively few single-family houses by comparison to what we are fortunate, I think, to enjoy here in the Northwest, where there are abundant sites and clients for single-family houses. So we were somewhat surprised that there were as few as there were. This one stood out to us for its intelligence, for its control, for the zoning of the plan, for the technologies that it embodied. And it was just a very disciplined project. I think from my point of view, more disciplined than all the rest.
Yeah, coming from the West Coast in general, I think where there's a real robust single-family culture, I think we all felt that there was to Ed's point, there was a discipline here and a sense of reference to the historic fabric, I believe, that this, in a modern language, that this house met. And that's why we awarded it, because it did have that sort of discipline, that proportional quality, and frankly, the fit and finish was really top notch. And we would expect that with any residential project.
Congratulations, Richard Pedranti Architect. In the architecture category, KJO Architecture receives a Merit Award for Shifted. Shifted is supported by project partner HuTech Engineering, who collaborated with the team as the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineering firm.
This one elicited a lot of conversation in the jury. I think for some of us, the strength of this project was not only, of course, we want to embrace this kind of project in this neighborhood, but also the skillfulness of modulating a building that's slightly taller than the surrounding buildings that also were, some of them were actually quite modest along the street, and was able to modulate this building in a way that recognized its height, but also recognized its relationship to the sort of building pattern of the street.
You want this building to do well.
And in a funny way, the vertical stratification that came from the shifts worked extremely well at a number of different scales. I think we may have felt that it might be 1 story too tall to be the perfect fit, but you give it a great deal of credit for breaking the mass down. And it looks to be a terribly eclectic neighborhood, and eclectic facade seems to fit just fine.
It will be an interesting building to look at 5-10 years from now.
Congratulations, KJO Architecture. In the unbuilt category, Moto Design Shop receives a Merit Award for St. Joseph's University Arupe Hall.
Well, just a delightful project, we thought. Obviously, how do you make a sacred space attached to an existing building? It's an overstatement to say it works seamlessly, because these are 2 very different places. But it felt like there was a natural sort of progression from the existing brick structure in this ephemeral spiritual chapel.
It's incredibly inventive in terms of the layers of the masonry and the scrim on the inside. And the chapel itself appeared to be a really wonderfully inspired sacred space.
Congratulations, Moto Design Shop. In the category of Impact Design, ISA receives a Merit Award for the Louisville Knot.
I think this was a sweetheart project that all of us responded to. It's modest in terms of construction cost, and rather immodest in terms of impact on the street. It's relatively dynamic. It's just simple painted pipe, but it engages people at a number of different scales and with different activities. And we thought it was just perfect in terms of its context in the underbelly of an urban freeway to provide very specific vitality to this zone.
Agree. How many of these understory environments have we all collectively experienced in North America? And for the most part, they're pretty unfortunate experiences to get through relatively quickly. This project, in its playfulness, just elevates our daily lives to another level that is unexpected in this location, certainly in our experience.
It's not clear, frankly, to me, that it will work, but you hope it will work. And you believe that it's just possibly brave enough to work, and just possibly contrived enough to work in the situation. And a grand detail, if this should turn out to be, what will help?
You know, you use the word contrive, Peter, and there is an aspect of contrivance to this that seems to be specific to certain activities, but there's a universality to it that suggests to me that it's flexible and it can be conquered by other activities. So it's both.
But it'd be very interesting to see this up against time and humans and life and the difficulties of Louisville and the difficulties of this country. And that's what this is up against. And it won't be an easy contest, and I'm really pulling for it.
Congratulations, ISA. In the Interior Architecture category, Next Architecture receives a Merit Award for Uber Advanced Technology Group.
Well, a familiar project to a lot of us, of course, in our industry, and we all collectively know a relatively difficult project to make a place, a workplace, a place where you want to go to work, where you want to engage with your community. And of course, we're going through an era right now where some of these places are really being tested. I think the jury felt, in general, this was one of the more successful workplace strategies. There was a modesty of means invested into the project, but those modest means were used very smartly to make this a place where you spend a good third of your life.
I was really charmed by the project. I thought, to Tom's terminology, it was a really smart and intelligent project. But at the same time, it seemed to be very appropriate, and it was making a commentary upon the steel and the history of the building for fabricating steel. So there were some wonderful vignettes of the juxtaposition of the new order against the existing structure. And the existing structure wasn't precious. It was kind of gritty and very appropriate to the circumstances.
Now, so much is wagered on the workplace as a crucible. It will be very interesting to see what progress this makes.
Congratulations, Next Architecture. AIA Pennsylvania is proud to debut the inaugural Architectural Excellence COTE Awards. And now, a word from our COTE Awards sponsor, Atlantic Engineering Services.
Structural engineering involves more than just sizing beams and columns. It's about listening and communicating efficiently, prioritizing your goals, devising customized solutions, and ultimately delivering an excellent product. We are passionate about design, and we serve our clients by crafting structures in which people live, learn, work, play, heal, worship, and more. At AES, our engineers enjoy what they do. They really do, and so they do it well, bringing architectural visions to life. This year, AES is proud to bring you the 2020 AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence Committee on the Environment Awards. Congratulations to all the nominees whose work continues to raise the bar for design standards within our built environment.
In step with the AIA Pennsylvania Strategic Plan and AIA National's dedication to fighting climate change and equalities in the built environment, a joint task force of the Committee on the Environment and Committee on Design established the COTE Awards program with two core objectives. 1. Forge an optional and free path for members to submit their award-worthy projects to the program that would also introduce the AIA Framework for Design Excellence Measures, formerly the COTE Top 10, with a simplified assessment tool to encourage participation. 2. Emphasize to members, industry partners, civic leaders, clients, and the public at large that the highest standards of design excellence surpass aesthetic appeal to encompass community connection, equity, economic value, resilience, and stewardship of the natural environment. To support the rollout of the program, AIA Pennsylvania hosted a webinar headlined by Vivian Lofness, FAIA, internationally renowned researcher, author, and educator with over 30 years of focus on environmental design and sustainability. Further support was provided with virtual open office hours hosted by the trio of COTE leaders credited with the development of the AIA Framework for Design Excellence Assessment, the main COTE Awards submission criteria. Join us in recognizing Brian Smiley, Jonathan Weiss, and Sherman Aronson for their dedication to development and rollout of the assessment tool used for both local AIA Philadelphia Awards program and state program. The inaugural COTE Awards jury was made up of a panel of AIA Seattle COTE members independent of the Design Awards jury. Brad Benke, Shannon Bunsen, and Zachary Stevens gathered virtually to review 34 submissions to the inaugural Architectural Excellence COTE Awards. They reviewed the projects through the lens of the following AIA Framework for Design Excellence measures, indicating how buildings perform for the health and wellness of the occupants, communities, and the environments they serve. Design for integration. What's the big idea? How does the project demonstrate the intersection of design excellence and sustainable performance? Design for equitable communities. How does this project make the most of its surrounding community, integrate with it, and give back? Design for ecology. How does this project respond, connect, and contribute to the surrounding ecosystem? Design for water. How does the project use water wisely and handle rainfall responsibly? Design for economy. How does the design show that higher performance can be cost-effective? Design for energy. How much energy does the project use? Is any of that energy generated on-site from renewable sources? And what's the net carbon impact? Design for wellness. How does the design promote the comfort and health of those who spend time in it? Design for resources. How were the decisions about the materials used based on an understanding of their impact, especially carbon impact? Design for change. How does the project design anticipate adapting to new uses, adapt to climate change, and support resilient recovery from disasters? Design for discovery. What lessons for better design have been learned? The jury selected 5 projects to be recognized with a COTE Award citation. This designation represents achievement in one or more AIA Framework for Design Excellence measures. Cicada Architecture and Planning receives an AIA Pennsylvania Architectural Excellence COTE Award for Casa Indiana. Casa Indiana rises from the site of a former yarn mill in the Fair Hill neighborhood of Philadelphia. Standing among old Philadelphia row homes and a new art walk, the 50 senior apartments in Casa Indiana provide much-needed affordable housing for the aging Puerto Rican community. Sited along the busy thoroughfare of North 2nd Street, Casa Indiana peels back at the corner to reveal a plaza and a sculpture by a local artist. In the back, the building embraces a secret garden that provides areas for senior activities of all kinds, a paved plaza for larger gatherings, a lawn for smaller gatherings and recreation, and raised planters for ease of access for the seniors. The jury recognizes Casa Indiana for its dedication to Measure 2 of the Framework for Design Excellence, Design for Equitable Communities. The jury remarked, quote, "This project promotes resilience for the community it serves and creates a safe space for a vulnerable population with opportunities for connection and inspiration as well. Casa Indiana far exceeds other applicants in addressing some of the most pressing equitable community issues of our time. Congratulations, Cicada." Fafman and Associates receives a COTE Award for the Forest Hills Municipal Building. The Zero Energy Forest Hills Municipal Building began as many projects do when faced with obsolete facilities and high energy bills. The resulting community-driven design features SIPS roof and walls, a 175 kilowatt solar array, geothermal well system, on-site stormwater management, timber structure, and rain screen siding. The party or organizing principle of the design is a linear hall that connects the primary program elements: police, borough offices, council chambers, community room, and library. Each can be operated independently while maintaining security. The engineered timber frame provides a rich framework for the design and is expressed on the exterior at the main entrance portico and extended roof for solar control. The jury cites the Design for Energy and Design for Resources measures as standout achievements of the Forest Hills Municipal Building. Jurors expressed, quote, "One of the most well-rounded projects submitted and incredible dedication to sustainability. Sets a great example to other municipal developers of what can be done on a normal project budget in terms of low-impact materials, passive systems, and on-site renewable energy. A role model for municipal buildings." Congratulations, Fafman and Associates. Richard Pedranti Architect receives a COTE Award for the Lang St. Marie Net Zero Residence. The Lang St. Marie Residence is a prefabricated net zero home in the New Jersey shore town of Spring Lake Heights. The front of the modern residence blends into its well-established beach neighborhood. The rear features a stunning 16-foot cantilever, creating a large covered outdoor space. A retractable glass wall allows the indoor, covered, and backyard garden spaces to flow together, enabling the desired indoor-outdoor beach lifestyle. Passive house design principles resulted in low energy consumption for heating and cooling and a cozy, healthy indoor environment. The addition of a roof-mounted PV solar system achieved net zero building. The architect's BIM software was translated into machine language, which off-site robotic manufacturing machines used to create panelized wall assemblies. These were transported to New Jersey, where the home was assembled in 2 weeks. The jury recognizes the project for its achievements in the integration, energy, and ecology framework for design measures. Jurors expressed, quote, "Excellent net zero residential example with passive house design and solar. Impressive that it requires less than half the energy needed to heat and cool a typical home in the U.S. Of all projects with prefabricated components, the Lange St. Marie residence stood out for its seamless and meticulous integration of components to create a whole, and does so while also being completely net zero. The site design enhances ecosystem services and integrates beautifully with the home. Congratulations, Richard Pedranti, architect. HOK receives a COTE Award for LG North American Headquarters. The new $300 million North American headquarters enables LG to consolidate up to 1,200 people from 6 divisions across New Jersey into one location. The LEED Platinum certified development is the newest state-of-the-art office facility in the tri-state area, and the campus has become a post-COVID-19 model for companies looking for office space outside of major urban centers. Rejecting the deep floor plates common to suburban office buildings, the design offered slimmer proportions with 2 narrow wings linked by a public atrium and a landscape inclusive of outdoor amenities and significant areas of ecological restoration. The jury recognizes the project for its achievements in the ecology, energy, and integration measures. Jurors remarked, quote, "Awesome example of what corporate offices should be doing. We commend the team for achieving LEED Platinum and appreciate all the site restoration work. Project stands out for beautiful site design and integration into its landscape, preserves and enhances the natural beauty and functionality of its ecosystem, provides an alternate path forward to the status quo of suburban development with a beautiful and energy-efficient building. Congratulations, HOK. GBBN receives a COTE Award for Tree Pittsburgh headquarters. Dedicated to growing the urban forest, Tree Pittsburgh wanted a sustainable headquarters that gives employees and volunteers easy access to the 100,000 trees they nurture and plant each year. Sited on a former steel mill above the Allegheny, the simple, open building is comprised of 9 double-height modules. Using prefabricated modules reduces on-site construction waste and creates a tight thermal seal for the building. The modules sit lightly on the land, anchored by foundation piles that compress rather than displace existing soil. Photovoltaic solar panels on the south-facing roof help Tree Pittsburgh achieve net zero energy. A 3,000-gallon temperature-controlled water tank provides the campus with its potable water. Sensors alert staff when supply is low. The jury cites the project for design for its achievements in the economy, resources, and energy measures. Jurors remarked, quote, "Excellent utilization of resources to create an incredibly simple yet beautiful net zero building. Lovely prefab net zero project and a great example of simplicity and sustainability on a limited budget. Congratulations, GBBN." Jurors may select one entry among the COTE submissions that demonstrates excellence across all measures of the AIA framework for design excellence. Murray Associates Architects receives the COTE Award of Excellence for their high-performance urban office addition and historical retrofit. The Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency needed to expand their urban headquarters, but were landlocked by deteriorating historic buildings and a small parking lot. The dilapidated historic Hickok House, adjacent to PHFA, was purchased. Its rear non-historical addition was raised and its exterior was restored. The interiors were retrofitted for a training center and conference rooms. The new 8-story glass precast concrete and brick tower blends old and new within the neighborhood's context. Its footprint overlays a small parking lot and the former 1970s non-historical Hickok House addition. For more usable space, the top 4 floors cantilever over the historical building. To meet USGBC and PHIUS criteria, an electrochromic curtain wall system, VRF mechanical systems, 77 solar panels, and a living roof were integrated. Since its completion in January, the building uses 49% less energy than similar code-compliant office buildings. The jury commends the project for its achievements in the resources, equitable communities, energy, and change measures. The jury shared, quote, "One of the most challenging and constricted sites, but was still able to achieve some of the highest levels of sustainability with a thoughtful and well-integrated solution." The project provides a beautiful and timely example of how to reuse and rehabilitate existing buildings to maintain cultural and neighborhood character, while increasing density through urban infill and preserving invaluable as-built resources. Congratulations, Murray Associates Architects! The Allied Trades Award, renamed in 2019 in honor of Raymond J. Sinagra's collaborative, whatever-it-takes spirit and dedication to the AEC community, is presented for contributions to the built environment by a contractor, developer, civil engineer, or other allied professional. The award honors those professionals who bring architects' work into reality and who uphold the tenets of design, sustainability, and collaboration. As a principal of Fenner & Essler, Tim Essler is a recognized expert in the field of professional liability insurance and risk management for architects and engineers with over 25 years of experience. Founded in 1923, Fenner & Essler has been serving built environment professionals for over 45 years. Their clients range from single-person studios to ENR 100 firms located throughout the United States. Fenner & Essler has been an allied member of AIA Pennsylvania for 20 years and a supporting member of various local AIA chapters. Tim and the firm have been frequent chapter speakers on risk and insurance issues, grassroots advocacy with state and local government officials, and a tireless proponent with insurance carriers on issues that impact A&E firms throughout the Commonwealth. Tim has been a reliable and trustworthy resource to the members of AIA Pennsylvania. From offering competitive insurance rates to hosting monthly continuing education sessions to help our firms stay acquainted with the latest business risks, Tim has helped our firms be prepared for the expected and the unexpected. Congratulations, Tim! The contribution to the profession by a non-architect award honors individuals, corporations, associations, or other groups who do not practice architecture. Recipients may be cited for their direct contributions to the profession, applied research, or through other disciplines that are allied with architects or enhance the practice of architecture. A leading American preservationist, urbanist, writer, and activist, Arthur Ziegler is best known for co-founding the Pittsburgh History and Landmarks Foundation in 1964. A recipient of the Louise DuPont Crown and Shield Award, the highest award in historic preservation from the National Trust for Historic Preservation and the Private Sector Achievement Award from the President of the United States, he has spent his life working to combat urban renewal policies that devastated historic sections of Pittsburgh and American cities and towns. He believes historic preservation is an effective means to create sustainable, affordable housing, healthy neighborhoods, and economic development. A recipient of an honorary doctorate of humane letters from Point Park University in Pittsburgh, Arthur holds degrees from the University of Pittsburgh, including postgraduate studies at Union Theological Seminary in New York and Western Reserve University, now Case Western University in Cleveland. Congratulations, Arthur! At Offutt-Kerman, we understand how to navigate the daily legal challenges of running a design firm, from professional licensure, contract negotiation, risk management, claims, and litigation. Our lawyers have been assisting clients solve legal, professional practice, and business challenges for years. The Offutt-Kerman team focuses on helping their architectural and engineering clients in an efficient and cost-effective manner. Our unparalleled experience and knowledge can help guide you through your professional practice and business needs. Offutt-Kerman was ranked in Construction Executive magazine as one of the top 50 construction law firms in the country again in 2020. Offutt-Kerman is being recognized for their office locations, number of attorneys and staff, number of construction clients, areas of practice, and other categories to achieve its ranking. The ranking publication has only been running for 2 years, and Offutt-Kerman and the construction team are proud to be recognized with such an honor. We look forward to continuing to serve our clients and communities. The jury selected 5 honor award recipients. An honor award may be granted at the jury's discretion to projects that exemplify distinguished achievement in any category. In the category of architecture, Bolin Sewinski Jackson is the recipient of an honor award for Ansis Hall. ANSYS Hall is supported by project partner Lamb Partners Architectural Lighting Designers, who collaborated with the team as the interior and exterior lighting consultant.
An honor award goes to ANSYS Hall, Carnegie Mellon University. Superb project, of course. And actually the lead-in photograph was less interesting, I think, to the jury than the subsequent photographs of how skillfully this addition to this historic campus worked between the modern insertion and the historic campus itself.
I think all of us were really impressed with the skill of the insertion of the contemporary architecture into a traditional campus environment. A really hard thing to do, and done here exceptionally well. The other thing that I would like to comment is that the integration of the campus circulation through the complex. This will become a really appealing, timeless kind of addition because of the circulation.
Congratulations, Bolin Sawinski Jackson. In the architecture category, ISA receives an honor award for El Rose.
The most difficult site of all the projects we looked at, the most impossible site of all the projects, and a handsome, lovely way to deal with it, an act of simply putting everything you have into making it a wonderful space.
So the jury was particularly excited by this project because of those reasons that Peter spoke to. Given a relatively modest budget with a terrific underlying agenda, this is one of those projects that's hard not to notice and hard not to love.
The very grittiness of the site is extremely important here, in that this building, as inventive as it is, may have been out of place in many other neighborhoods, but it seems to be the perfect response to this gritty neighborhood. And it was just very captivating.
Congratulations, ISA. In the category of interior architecture, PWWG receives an honor award for Museum Lab at the Children's Museum of Pittsburgh, a partnership with California-based Koning Eisenberg.
Well, again, a terrific project done in a historic place, and in this case, actually embracing the sort of nature of what's happened to this building over time, rather than restoring it, embracing this sort of patina, this sort of aging, and then juxtaposing that with a real carefully done modern insertion again, that balances that yin and yang of the kind of architecture that will continue to get better the more it's loved and used over its lifespan.
And I guess the way I would look at it is that it's a reclamation of the building rather than a perfect restoration. And I think that's where it gets its power and its energy.
It's true to say that projects we love the most, those became the ones we said, I wish we could go see it. And this one I'd go see in a heartbeat.
Congratulations, PWWG and Koning Eisenberg. In the Preservation Architecture category, Atkin Olshan Shade Architects receives an honor award for the Philadelphia Metropolitan Opera House.
Well, the first order of business for restoration architecture is the architect's Hippocratic oath, first do no harm. And I think that's really evidenced in this project. The building has been restored for its original purpose, but without fussiness. It seems to be a very direct restoration that extends the useful life of the building and celebrates the creative energy of the building without getting in your way. The restoration really isn't apparent. It seems like it always has been this way.
Yeah, just a skillfully thoughtful restoration of what was already a terrific building, and modernizing it and maintaining that legacy of terrific architecture.
And the challenge, of course, is being able to introduce all the contemporary environmental systems in terms of the HVAC and the lighting and the AV in such a seamless and simple fashion.
Congratulations, Atkin Olshan Shade Architects. In the category of preservation architecture, Atkin Olshan Shade Architects receives a second honor award for Richards Medical Research Laboratory.
Deeply appreciated by the jury, the skillfully thoughtful, understated restoration of one of our heroes and an icon building.
I think in our discussion, we shared the observation that it probably is much better than it was in the beginning. The Richards Lab was renowned for its lack of adequate ventilation. It was probably very lacking in systems, and the renovation is as clean and orderly as one could ever imagine, but it probably belies the fact that it's loaded with technology to make it a serviceable building for the next 50 years. So this is another example of first doing no harm, but I think it actually probably made it better than it ever has been in its useful life. And it's a daunting task to take on the renovation of an iconic building like this.
Yeah, done with honor, in honor. It's a lovely piece.
Congratulations, Atkin Olshan Shade Architects! This award is given to any individual or group working in state or local government that has made significant contributions to the profession and business of architecture and/or the built environment. This year, a slate of government award nominees were put forward to the AIA Pennsylvania Board by the AIA Pennsylvania Government Affairs Committee, chaired by Scott Compton and Adam Trott, co-chair. Join us in recognizing the following 17 AIA Citizen Architect members representing the profession as appointees of the governor to various state boards, committees, and councils. Serving on the Accessibility Advisory Board, Richard Kastner. Frank Dittenhafer II, FAIA appointee to the Capitol Preservation Committee, responsible for restoring and preserving the art, architecture, and history of the Pennsylvania State Capitol and Capitol Complex. A. Stevens, Steve Krug, Chair, and Mark Mondor, Vice Chair, led the Climate Change Advisory Committee. Among the charges and accomplishments of the Climate Change Advisory Committee was the 2018 Climate Action Plan. 4 work groups focus on infrastructure, public health and safety, natural resources, and tourism and outdoor recreation. Randy Galliotto Jr. and Matthew Luttrell are 2 of 5 members of the Department of General Services Selections Committee for Professional Selections, tasked with evaluating and recommending a short list of qualified design firms for consideration on each public works project. John Hill recently completed his term as president of the State Architects Licensure Board, passing the torch to Philip Leinbach. William Bates, FAIA, and Aram Pillajian Jr. were recently appointed and joined board veterans Mary McLenahan and Jerry Roller, board secretary. The Licensure Board is responsible for regulating the practice of architecture for the protection of the health, safety, welfare of the Commonwealth's residents, and the betterment of the profession. Eston Rustin serves on the PA Sewage Advisory Committee. Charles Coltharp and Joseph Laval are honored for their service on the Uniform Construction Code Review and Advisory Council, or the RAC. The council is charged with making recommendations to the governor, the General Assembly, and labor and industry regarding proposed changes to the Pennsylvania Construction Code Act. The Council's main charge is reviewing the Triennial International Code Council building code updates, as they did most recently with the review and adoption of the 2015 codes back in 2018 under the leadership of Chair Maureen Gutman. Congratulations to Michael Thompson, a recent appointee to the RAC. In 2018, AIA Pennsylvania amended language into a bill, now law, that created the School Safety and Security Committee and mandates the appointment of a member architect recommended by AIA Pennsylvania. Michael Kelly was appointed by the governor and continues to serve on the committee. Congratulations, appointed citizen architects. The Medal of Distinction is the highest award bestowed by AIA Pennsylvania upon a living AIA Pennsylvania member. The recipient shall have made contributions to architecture that transcend local boundaries and have been of benefit to the profession and citizens of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Emmanuel Kelly, FAIA, is the principal and co-founder of Philadelphia's Kelly Maiello Architects and Planners, a minority-owned firm established in 1976. Emmanuel, or Kelly as he is often called, received a Bachelor of Architecture degree from Drexel University and a Master of City Planning and Urban Design from Harvard University. He is an AIA Fellow, a charter member of the Philadelphia chapter of NOMA, and was the first African-American president of AIA Philadelphia. His distinguished career is inspired by his roots in the urban African-American experience and is most notable for service within the industry, the education of future architects, and a sustained commitment to preserving and revitalizing our city's communities. His achievements and memberships are many. His works are varied, from the President's House at Independence National Park to the new West Philadelphia High School and his current rebuild work. He has delivered on the premise that design is for all. Congratulations, Emmanuel. A silver medal may be granted at the jury's discretion to the project that distinguishes itself from the rest of the submissions, representing the highest level of achievement. This year, the jury selected one project for the silver medal honor. The silver medal is brought to you by Bell Insurance, a full-service insurance agency specializing in serving businesses as well as individuals. In the category of architecture, Digsaw is the recipient of the 2020 Silver Medal for the Jefferson School Middle School building.
Well, the Jefferson School Middle School building captivated all of us from the moment we first saw it. Very, very spare. Every move seemed to be perfect. We couldn't imagine another outcome for this modest program, obviously on a very restrained budget, but perfectly composed. And I just call attention to the composition of the trusses in the gymnasium, treating a very pedestrian construction system as art. We were just very impressed with every move.
On all levels, a fantastic project. Again, with a limited budget, with a terrific agenda, superb discipline on all the planning moves and the architectural detail moves.
And I think the other thing that we would say is, after having seen this and thought about it, it's really impossible to imagine another solution to the problem.
But how interesting, from all the projects we looked at, that this had always kept our hearts and our affections.
Well, I think it's a perfect example is that you don't need a heroic budget or lots of histrionics to make great architecture. This, from my point of view, is really great architecture.
Congratulations, Digsaw. Every year, the AIA Pennsylvania Architecture Firm of the Year Award recognizes one firm whose passion and practice has produced notable architecture for at least a decade. One of the oldest architectural practices in the country, Ballinger has evolved significantly from the firm that in the 1920s invented the superspan sawtooth roof to bring natural light into industrial workspaces. During the mid-1990s, the firm embarked on a significant transformation from a regional service firm to a national, design-focused practice serving high-quality institutions and clients. A holistic change in leadership, culture, design process, and clients altered the breadth and stature of Ballinger's work. Today, Ballinger is nationally recognized for design excellence and innovation in creating experientially engaging, programmatically demanding, and technically complex buildings that advance science and health. Built on a legacy of invention and strengthened by the transformation of the past 20 years, Ballinger is driven by their core values of design excellence, environmental stewardship, and commitment to community. Congratulations, Ballinger! Thank you for joining us to celebrate great architecture this evening. A special thanks to all that participated in this year's awards programs. One more round of applause for our generous sponsors. Fenner & Essler, Microsoft Resources, Autodesk Platinum Partner, Milber Macris, Offit Kerman, Bell Insurance, Atlantic Engineering Services, Langen, Members First Federal Credit Union, Turner Construction, Sheets, Acoustic Distinctions, The Harmon Group, Oldcastle APG, QTech Engineering, Lamb Partners,